millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now, with you. You're listening to, and damn, I hope you're watching the HoloNet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo 50 Radio. My name is Matt Holloway. I am your host. Today, it is Saturday. It is the 9th of October in the year of our Lord 2021. It is the first year of the long, dark winter, and winter is actually approaching now, following the first Trumpian age, and we are in the midst of the Biden-Harris regime, as I like to call it. And guys, it's getting a little weird. I mean, it's getting beyond weird. It's getting downright stupid at this point, because all nuance seems to have been lost by not just the left, but also now by, college administrators. And where am I getting this? I'm getting this from Turning Point USA, good old TPUSA, Charlie Kirk's group. They're having a little bit of a problem with Emerson University. Yeah. Emerson University has suspended their local chapter of TPUSA, and students are facing investigation. Because no, that's not, McCarthyian or anything. This is a story, by the way, which is going to break on the GOP Times, but you are going to get it right here, right now, as a sneak preview. You'll be able to find this if you are a member of the HoloNet Premium Digest right in your email box. You can do that on Patreon or on Subscribestar. Links are in the description if you would like to become a HoloNet operative and support all that we do here. But here is the story for you. But before we get to that, we're going to talk to you about our fantastic sponsors for this segment. Make sure you go check out mypillow.com. mypillow.com. Promo code Mojo50. Use that. You get yourself the sale of the year, Giza Dream Sheets, buy one, get one free. That's a fantastic BOGO. And you get the lowest price on My Pillow Premiums, $29.98. Lowest price ever. Use your promo code Mojo50. Now let's get to the story. So, conservative students now under investigation just for being honest. Now, if you have not yet witnessed or played the game Among Us, this may be a little bit lost on you culturally speaking, but I definitely suggest you check it out. It's a fun game. Among Us involves a team of crewmates, and there's an imposter among them, an alien imposter, or even not just an alien, but the job in the game, the task in the game, it's a whodunit. You have to, do your tasks throughout a starship, a spaceship, to keep the ship going, or on a colony to keep the colony going, all the while trying not to get killed by the imposter, and trying to reveal them by accusing people and kicking them out the airlock, or by, if you're playing the other side, you are the imposter, you're trying to kill people and sabotage and do whatnot. So in this whodunit, all of the players vote on who they think performed the murder, or who they think performed the sabotage, mostly with murders. So from that evolved the phrase sus. Somebody's looking kind of sus. They're kind of suspicious. You have reason to believe that they may have been the player to commit the murder, to commit the crime. So when you hear somebody's looking kind of sus, they're looking kind of suspicious. They don't seem right. Well, Turning Point USA decided to take advantage of this millennial Gen Z zeitgeist moment of the characters from Among Us, and they created a sticker and a poster which displays the red Among Us character with the hammer and sickle emblazoned upon it, which says, China kinda sus. China kinda sus. This is it right here on screen. And it's pretty innocent looking, isn't it? Oh, here we go. Okay, wow, that's Mike Huckabee out of nowhere. All right, I just messed that up. But yeah, it's this sticker that says, China kinda sus. And China is kind of sus. Why is China kind of sus? Because we're very suspicious of their actions. There's more and more data coming out every day that indicates that China may have had an active role, very likely had an active role, in the development of the gain-of-function research of COVID-19, and could, either in part or in whole, be responsible for the pandemic that has gripped the world and the subsequent panic, which has probably done more damage than the actual virus itself. So, they have said China is kind of sus. But as I said, the Emerson College chapter of Turning Point USA has been suspended now, and multiple students are under investigation because of the distribution of stickers bearing the resemblance of a character from the Among Us video game franchise in red adorned with the hammer and sickle with the caption "China kind of sus," indicating a suspicion of foul play by the Chinese Communist Party. This is an important distinction to make. You're going to see why. Emerson's administrators have accused the TPUSA activism campaign, which is being carried out nationwide, of being, quote, xenophobic. Emerson College officials released a statement condemning the expression of suspicion against the communist government, which is currently committing crimes against humanity on the Uyghur people. If you don't remember that story from a few months back, that's still going on. That hasn't stopped. Thousands upon thousands of Muslim Uyghurs in the western stretches of China are getting put in what amounts to concentration camps and re-education centers. There is effectively a cultural genocide happening against the Uyghur people. So anyway, they're not only stomping the political life out of Hong Kong as well, but they're committing that against the Uyghur people. Even a cursory glance shows you how all is not well with Emerson's leadership at the Boston campus. Interim President William Gilligan wrote, quote, "It has come to my attention that several individuals were distributing stickers yesterday that included anti-Chinese messaging that is inconsistent with the college's values and will not be tolerated on our campus." Emerson then wrote in a note to international students, quote, "The Office of International Student Affairs, the OSIA, the Office of Intercultural Affairs, and the Student Engagement and Leadership, SEAL, and the Social Justice Center, that should give you a warning right there, stand with our students from China and other Asian-identified and Asian American community members to denounce the use of free speech platforms for statements that are used as xenophobic weapons." Now remember how he says here that he's going to stand with Asian-identified and Asian American community members and students from China. That's going to be important later. So, there are a couple of problems with Emerson College's incredibly ignorant take, and we're going to lay them out for you here. First, the TPUSA campaign is clearly criticizing the Chinese Communist Party and not China as a nation or its people. When they say China kinda sus, and they show the communist symbol, okay, that represents the Chinese Communist Party and not China overall. Many online hecklers actually pointed this out, talk about shooting your own case in the foot. And they said, well, that's not even China's flag. Yeah, because theoretically, if one wishes to criticize an entire nation, then the flag, which represents the whole nation, would be appropriate, right? So wouldn't you see the Chinese 5-star symbol on the chest of the Among Us character? No, instead you see the hammer and sickle. And just for proof of the pudding here, on your screen, that's an image of the Chinese Communist Party Congress with the hammer and sickle prominent. Yes, they use that symbol too, in order to differentiate their party from their government. So for example, if one were to say, create a similar meme or campaign saying, America kinda sus, like so, one with a reasonable knowledge of party symbols in the U.S. would immediately realize that it isn't the people of America overall who are under suspicion or sus, but rather the Democratic Party, which is currently in control. The one I put together is a blue Among Us character with the donkey symbol on his chest. It says America kinda sus. If you or I looked at that, we go, oh, yeah, because it's Biden's America right now, right? And then America's kind of sus right now because walking out of Afghanistan, leaving $85 billion of military equipment laying on the ground, that's kind of sus, isn't it? So, rather, the Democratic Party, which is currently in control, not America overall, is what is being called out by that, correct? One could even specifically narrow it to the Biden-Harris administration and not even encompass past Democrat-led governments like Obama's or Clinton's. That's called nuance, kids. And that's something that leftists and college administrators just don't seem to get, or they just really don't give a about anymore. There is no nuance. There is no separation. There is no, assuming best intent from people. If they're on the other side of you politically, just they are evil. They are dastardly. They are racists. They are xenophobes. That's all these people think. All right? And there's a deeper connection here to China that we're going to get to. All right? Why? Because it's way easier to assume that all Americans, other Americans are dumb country rubes who can't tell the difference between a party, symbol, and a national flag. Aw. Now, granted, the hammer and sickle were incorporated into the Soviet flag, but context is really important here, kids. You know, black and white moralism, that's for the plebs. Context is for kings. Okay? There's a big, important piece of context here. Russia kind of sus, if you wanted to do that, with the red hammer and sickle. That would actually mean probably Russia as a whole. Why? Because that was on their flag. That was the symbol of their nation. It wasn't just the symbol of the Communist Party to them. It was the symbol of the whole damn country. That was the way they did it. So, you know, under those terms, sure, I can see it. You either think it's a 1989 still, or the old school Soviets didn't really go away. They just rebranded. Wait, that part's actually true. So, Emerson College is actually the ones who are, to borrow a phrase, kind of sus. And why is that? Well, let's get into that real quick. Emerson College has got a history. Didn't you know that? Yeah, they actually do have a little bit of a history when it comes to this. Let's break it down here. When we examine this, it's actually the college that's behaving kind of suspiciously. Consider this. Emerson's TPUSA Vice President Kirsten Linnem. Now, if you just listen to that name, Kirsten Linnem, I'm going, Swedish? Maybe Norwegian? Some kind of Northern European, right? She told the National Review, China kinda sus, has nothing to do with Asians or Asian culture. I'm Chinese Singaporean myself. And I'm offended by people who suggest I have hatred toward my own race. Emerson TPUSA chapter president Sam Nevis, who also chimed in, politely declared bullshit. Oop, I missed that one. The stickers come standard in every activism kit from the Turning Point USA headquarters, he said. Thousands of colleges and universities all across the country distribute those exact same stickers, and virtually no one has ever had any issue with them, Nevis said. We feel most of this outrage is disingenuous. You think? So the National Review also dropped another bombshell on this. The most prominent student organization pushing for DPUSA's defenestration is the Chinese Students Association, or CSA, which has the dubious record of taking Beijing's line on various issues, including the Hong Kong pro-democracy movement. Remember that? Like a year ago, 2 years ago? Yeah. There's some really bad history at Emerson, that they're basically just the mouthpiece of the Chinese Communist Party Politburo at this point. In 2019, while the Hong Kong controversy was heating up all over America and getting the NBA in hot water, an Emerson Jr., Francis Hui, remember the last name now, started a protest movement on campus to support the pro-democracy protests in the British former colony and draw attention to their grievous violent oppression by mainland China's police as their one country, two systems freedoms were systematically ripped away when, we were busy dealing with our own run-up to a potential civil war and weren't really paying attention. So, Hui wrote an op-ed in the school's newspaper that earned her not one, but 2 death threats. Actual death threats. People calling for her execution. Okay? They were made against Hui and other Emerson College students from Hong Kong. Yeah. And this was illustrated best because they said, the pro-Beijing group, the CSA, claimed that Hui's criticism of China was racist. So apparently all criticism of China and the Chinese Communist Party is racist. That's the standard now. You can't criticize the Chinese Communist Party without being racist against Asians. This is a fatally dangerous conceit, folks. This is the height of dangerous rhetoric here in the United States. If we make it impossible to criticize, even criticize verbally, our greatest national opposition right now, opponents, I suppose, on the world stage, then we're done. We're toast. We are saying we lack the moral high ground to criticize them. Because if you look back to the Cold War, It was so important when Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union the evil empire, because it established right from the word go that we have the moral superiority over the Soviet Union, guaranteed. Period. End of discussion. We can't even say that about the Chinese Communist Party, otherwise we're racist against Asians. Are you insane? This is not how you win a Cold War. This is how you roll over. So, this was illustrated best when Lee Pelton, the former president of Emerson College, wonder why he got let go, warned Emerson College administrators to exercise, quote, global competency, lest they risk a firestorm of criticism from the Chinese government, according to Religion Unplugged. The influence of the Chinese government is very, very strong at Emerson and at many other American colleges. In an interview with National Review, Hui, the author of the op-ed, recalled that after one CSA member posted her op-ed alongside the message, "Whoever opposes China must be executed," the Emerson administration failed to take any action. Toss into the mix Emerson's massive cooperation with the United International College, which is a Chinese academic organ, wherein Emerson has integrated Chinese students and vice versa due to COVID-19 travel limitations. The truth is quite clear. That college has been co-opted and is taking their marching orders from Beijing, not from Boston. It is stunningly apparent now that the infiltration of the Chinese Communist Party into American academia is complete. Now, just unrelated little note here. We all actually, all of us here at the HoloNet, we know that this is the real meme here. America is actually kind of sus of each other. You see the Democrats and the Republicans. And here's the even realer one. This is the more accurate one. America kind of sus of each other, but China though. And if you're not looking at the screen, you have the America Among Us character, the two American Among Us characters, the Democrat and the Republican, holding knives on each other. And then the Chinese one, the Chinese Communist Party one, coming up behind to shank them. Yeah, that's how that really works. So folks, this is what is happening in American colleges right now. Conservative organizations like Turning Point USA are getting shunned and booted from the public square. They're getting their organizations shut down for the act of merely criticizing the Chinese Communist Party. This was not an attack against the Chinese people as a whole. Anyone who argues that point is lacking in nuance and is disingenuous at best. If not, they are trying whole cloth to cancel conservatives for the sheer sake of canceling conservatives. Period. This is not a case where there's a genuine dispute. This is not a case where there's any form of obvious oppression. This is not a case where we need to report hate crimes against Asians. This isn't a hate crime. The only hate crime that has taken place is a political one where Frances Hui had her life threatened. I believe it's a her. For simply daring to criticize Beijing steamrolling Hong Kong. Never mind COVID-19. Never mind the Uyghur genocide. Never mind any of that. Never mind their provocative actions in the South China Sea that are inching us closer and closer to World War III every day. Never mind flying 50 bombers over Taiwan. Again, same text. Threatening to touch off World War III at any time. You can't criticize them. Because if you do, you're just a racist. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It is the chilling of free speech at every level. And we're going to talk about chilling of free speech when we come back. Because now, and I know it's been news all week, but I'm going to touch on it anyway because it really pisses me off. Now, parents in the United States who go to school board meetings to object to critical race theory, to mask mandates, and, wait for it, vaccine mandates now, are terrorists. You know, we've been saying this for a long time. They're not coming for Proud Boys. They're not coming for 3%ers. They're not coming for Trump. They're not coming for Ted Cruz or Rand Paul or Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene. No. They're coming for you. For you. They're coming for you. They're coming for me. Those other people, they're just in the way. But at the end of the day, it's going to be your front door when somebody's knocking like the police. And damn if it isn't actually going to be the police. Excuse me, Mr. Holloway, we understand you were at a Board of Education meeting. You created quite a ruckus. You're going to need to come with us, sir. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. How long is it going to be before that is our new reality? Before we're being dragged out of our front doors like Mr. Meekum himself, Count Dankula, who took a video of a pug doing a Nazi salute as a joke because he was so sick of his girlfriend talking about how cute her dog is. Oh, it's such a cute little dog. It's so cute. So he decided as a gag, just to take the piss. I don't know why I beeped that. Just to be a lord, he decided to teach this pug to do the least cute thing he could possibly think of. So he turned it into a Nazi by training it to lift its one paw in a faux Nazi salute every time it heard gas the I don't want to get thrown off YouTube or Heil, what's his name, every time. And they didn't just demonetize his channel, they arrested him. He went to jail. They fined him. How long, now that we find out the Department of Justice is going after parents at school board meetings, how long until they come for you and me and everybody else who dares pick their head up and say no? All right, before we go to break, I want to talk to you about our good friends at preparewithmojo50.com. Preparewithmojo50.com. It's about preparedness, not panic. Preparedness and not panic. You can pick up your 3-month emergency food supply, save $100 on it. That's $797. It contains 120 pounds. Well, no, it weighs 120 pounds. Contains 21 different varieties of food, 25-year shelf life. It's all packed and grown here in the USA. 2,000 calories per day. All right. You could also do the 4-week emergency food supply, 2,000 calories a day, 16 varieties of food in that one, 25-year shelf life, still $297. Be ready to be a resource for your family, for your friends. Go to preparewithmojo50.com so you don't need that hand when the government arrives and says they are here to help. Preparewithmojo50.com. Preparedness, not panic. Preparewithmojo50.com. All right, guys, so we're going to take a little break. When we come back, I'm going to pull up that story about what the DOJ is doing, that fantastic letter that Attorney General Merrick Garland sent out about their plans to thoroughly investigate any threats of violence against our educators. Yeah, this is going to get bad, kids. Steve Bannon said that when the mothers of our nation are activated in this way, it will be a firestorm. And he was right. You're listening to HoloNet on the Mighty the Powerful Mojo 50. Stick around.
Lately, USA is getting scarier. Half of the Americans I see all hate America. They hate the cops doing their best to take care of us and kneel for the flag and salt the soldiers that we're burying. I'm tired of the pissing and complaining. Why you living in America if all you do is hate it? You think it's brave to take a stand against the nation? Real bravery is dying for the right so you can say it. Dear America, what happened to Americans? Apparently no one's aware or cares that it's embarrassing. It's arrogance. Our greatest enemy was always slavery and terrorists, and now it's people in the country trying to burn the heritage. I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't Republicans or liberals, it's mental illness. The internet is only interested in left opinions. Cancel culture's got more power lately than the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. We will not defund police. We don't want no riots in our neighborhoods or in the streets. We respect freedom of speech. We protect what we believe. We don't want nobody dead, so please do not tread on me. In America, if freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you back your bags. America, does anybody know what the hell happened to the Patriots? Lately this nation is so ashamed and hating itself. Did everyone forget that people died to pay for this? Ungratefulness, United States gave everything to you just to help. I just want to celebrate Thanksgiving with my family. I don't need your help to understand it was a tragedy. Can I just be thankful for my country eating happily without you trying to guilt me for the genocide and casualties? I can't help it, I just seem to see the world different. It ain't black or white, it's conflict designed by the system. I don't need your pronouns, all I see is men and women. Kids are taking pills for fun while people can't afford prescriptions. If you don't like it, go. Hate it, then don't call it home. We don't need no violence, got no time for all you radicals. Screw your status quo, we're not animals. I won't kneel for the anthem, cause the flag is what I'm standing for. In America, if freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you back your bags. America, you can hate the government and still love the country. The fundamental values of America are concrete. Republicans and liberals are dumb, to put it bluntly. They're labels that they use to create chaos and corruption. You can know the history and still be proud of where you're from. Every flag around the world is covered in a little blood. We started out United States, divided is what we've become. If home is where the heart is, you should show America some love. In America, if freedom ain't free. In America, got soldiers dying overseas. So America, you say what we believe. My America, I won't ever take a knee. Our freedom is the reason you can disrespect our flag. If my stars and stripes offend you, then I'll help you back your bags. America.
Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages. You are listening to Holonet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo 50 Radio. Thank you for sticking around so far. Guys, before we went on break, talking to you about the new plan from the FBI, from the Attorney General, to more or less punish parents for becoming involved with their school boards. Not more or less, that's really exactly what it's going to do. It is designed to chill free speech. If you're not familiar with the chilling effect on free speech, this is actually a Supreme Court of the United States concept that says just because you don't actually pass a law that impairs free speech, if you make regulations or change things to the point that people are afraid of speaking freely under the threat of regulation or the threat of prosecution, then it is the exact same as if you actually violated their right to free speech. There is no difference in the court's eyes between the two. And that is precisely what the Department of Justice, under Attorney General Merrick Garland, is now seeking to do about your participation in school board meetings, about critical race theory, or about vaccine mandates, mask mandates, things of that nature. That is precisely what is happening right now. Merrick Garland doesn't want you going to these meetings. Joe Biden doesn't want you going to these meetings. The Democrats don't want you going to these meetings and taking part in the political process. They want to frighten you. They want to scare you off. They want to tell you that no, here's how you're allowed to participate. You're not allowed to participate in any other way. The only way you're allowed to participate is by mail and only on the days that they say so. You're not supposed to actually go to these school board meetings. They can't have plebs like you actually going to these meetings and screwing up their plans. No. That's contrary to their goals. That's not anything that they actually want to happen. Why would they ever want you there to object? Why would they ever want you to come anywhere near those meetings? They wouldn't. It's that simple. They want you to continue sitting idly by while your children are indoctrinated. They want you to continue just sending them off to school for 8 hours a day of wall-to-wall progressive socialist programming. This has been illustrated more times than I can count by honest to God, better hosts than me and better writers than me who have been fighting this fight for decades. It is dark, it is disgusting, and it is what my generation was completely subjected to. So if you sit back and wonder why millennials are the way they are, now you understand why. Because this has been going on for 20, 30 years. This unhindered indoctrination. And honestly, it could be too late for us to stop. Go to a story now from the GOP Times. It's going to be breaking this week. Concerned citizens facing a very real threat. On Monday, October 4th, 2021, the Biden-Harris regime officially turned the Department of Justice against the American people in a fundamental and terrifying way. In a memo released by Attorney General Merrick Garland targeting parents and teachers protesting before school boards, the Department of Justice announced that they will direct the FBI to investigate and prosecute, quote, threats of violence or efforts to intimidate individuals based on their views. At the same time asserting that the DOJ has the ability and the power to discern the difference between said threat and intimidation versus, quote, spirited debate about policy matters protected under our Constitution. Simple question. Who died? Who the hell? No, not strong enough. Who in the jumping... This is the importance of having a producer. Who the made Merrick Garland the official arbiter of what is and is not acceptable political speech in the United States of America? from a leftist-dominated government that supports the anti-free speech concept of hate speech and routinely defends and grants leniency or clemency to groups claiming that speech is violence, the notion that they now have the power to investigate and prosecute threats against public servants, in quotes, is horrifying. Attorney General Garland wrote, "The department takes these incidents seriously and is committed to using its authority and resources to discourage them when appropriate." Who decides? You? In coming days, the department will announce a series of measures designed to address the rise in criminal conduct directed toward school personnel. The DOJ threat is a violation of the SCOTUS chilling effect doctrine. As I explained, this memo is by definition a chilling effect on free speech, as determined by Supreme Court in Baggett v. Bullitt in 1964. MTSU's First Amendment Encyclopedia tells us that a chilling effect is the concept of deterring free speech and association rights protected by the First Amendment as a result of government laws or actions that appear to target expression. Okay? You following me? It is closely related to the overbreadth doctrine, which prohibits the government from casting too wide a net when regulating activities related to speech and expression. The author of Chilling Effect, Frank Askin, probably not a guy who would support conservatives, by the way. He's a retired professor emeritus at Rutgers, where he taught election law and constitutional law for 50 years. He's the longest-serving general counsel in the history of the ACLU, so not a dude who would generally be on our side, okay? But he explained that in Baggett v. Bullitt, in ruling that these provisions violated the First Amendment rights of employees who would be unable to determine what they were swearing to, the court asserted that the threat of sanctions may deter almost as potentially the actual application of sanctions. So in other words, by the federal government merely threatening that they will investigate and prosecute people, that is the same as actually prosecuting them and actually incarcerating them. Therefore, the threat of sanctions, even if no parents actually commit any threats or acts of violence, may deter their participation in school boards across the country, quote, almost as potently as the actual application of sanctions. This is a coordinated attempt to intimidate dissenting voices in the debates surrounding America's underperforming K-12 education, and it will not succeed. We will not be silenced, Parents Defending Education said Monday in a statement, clearly recognizing that the Biden-Harris regime's threat for what it is an act of political intimidation. It is designed to keep you out of your school board meetings. I am telling you right now, I just got back last week from a town council meeting with Glendale and was shocked at how few people were actually in attendance. I also went to a local Republican meeting, again, shocked by how few people were in attendance. Folks, we have got to get back into our local politics because they are running away without us. We are dying of apathy right now in the local, municipal, county, school board, state. Every level of government is trampling our rights because nobody's actually getting involved. You know what absolutely scares the ever-loving... Oh my God, censor button. What scares the ever-loving bejesus out of every single elected official? A full gallery. A full gallery. They hate it when they feel the eyes of the public upon them. Well, make them feel it. Leave them squealing from the feeling, okay? Start going to town council meetings. Start going to school board meetings. Go to every single one of them. It's going to suck. Your schedule's going to be rough, but you need to start going to as many of them as you possibly can. Get your friends. Get your friends' friends. Get your friends' friends. Get your neighbors. Put together a block committee so at least one of you on your block can go to every single meeting. Do whatever you've got to do, but make sure that your house, your street, your block, your section of town, your parish, your township, your county are all represented. Because here is the problem. If no one stops them, they do whatever they want. They do it every day. Do you know what government corruption depends on? Apathy. Apathy. It depends on the people simply not giving a shit. And we've done a fabulous job of it. I remember it was a couple months back, almost a year ago now, I did a story on the Chicago PD. And I actually interviewed Dominic Izzo. And he had something fantastic to say about it. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's not going to be on the main screen. I'm working on the other screen right now. But it was the line that policing in Illinois could change drastically if the government signed a certain bill, right? And he laid it out cold. And he blames the people. Correctly. I write, who ultimately is to blame? The people of Illinois. Dominic laid out a case with logic that is basically unassailable, if unpopular in his native state, placing the blame firmly on the people of Illinois for not participating in their local and state governments in any meaningful fashion. And folks, it happens in Arizona where I live. It happens wherever you live. Okay? He pointed out that fabricated fake outrage in support of cops and the futility of Facebook campaigns like #BackTheBlue, further explaining that putting on the Back the Blue rally, it doesn't really mean rallies don't do anything. Well, when you don't go to these meetings, I'm quoting Izzo. Well, when you don't go to these meetings and you don't know what the policy is and you don't listen to stuff, what happens then is your only course of action for stuff is when you wake up the next morning, change your profile picture to like, I support the blue or I back the blue. Do you? Do you really? Where were you the last 3 years when this stuff was coming? I was talking to PERF, Police Executive Research Forum, years ago, and everybody was laughing at me. He continued, I hate the way law enforcement is going now. I really can't stand it. We have some good cops, great cops, and some horrible, horrible people. And the problem is, when you, the citizen, do not get involved in your town, this is what happens. And then you wake up like, I just changed my header picture on my Facebook to I support the blue. Oh, you did? Oh, I'm helping. That's exactly it, kids. We can moan, complain on Facebook, on Twitter, all we want. I can do this show every week, all I want. Even if I don't miss a single show, I can write 1,000,000 articles for 1,000,000 different sources, for 1,000,000 different publications. I can get my name all over the internet, get on every single list the NSA has. If I'm not already, I will be shocked. But it doesn't amount to a single hill of beans unless we actually start getting out and going to these meetings. And I'm a bad offender. I am a bad offender. I can count on one hand how many meetings I've gone to in the last 5 years. One hand. Okay? Not good at this. Why? I work crazy hours. I've got 4 kids. I've got 1,000,000 excuses. I've got every excuse you can possibly think of, but here is the problem. We are running out of excuses. Because they are making the decisions for us, and we are doing nothing about it. What, we pick up our head every 2-4 years? And what happens then if that election is tilted against us? If the deck is stacked against us, as it was in 2020? What if it really doesn't matter if you get everybody out to vote? Because they changed the polling around in such a way that maybe it's like Vermont, or New Hampshire was it, or California. California, I know for sure, where illegal immigrants get to vote in your local and state elections. They just don't get to vote in the federal one. What if you're voting for your state to not offer tuition assistance to out-of-state students? You're going to get outvoted every single time. Why? Because you didn't go to the meeting where they talked about allowing illegal immigrants to vote. Maybe you didn't vote in that statewide plebiscite. Maybe you just ignored it. Maybe you got that notice in the mail and it just went into the G file. You just crumpled it up into the garbage. Because that's what we all do. And then we wake up one day and we all get good and pissed. And we all go, how the hell was this allowed to happen? Because we're not paying attention. We're not holding our representatives' feet to the fire. We are not dangling from the end of their voicemail every single day. We're not flooding their inbox. We're not going to the meetings. I can't stress this enough, that going to the meetings and actually meeting these people in person is the absolute best thing to do. You absolutely want your state representative, your city councilman, your mayor to see you walking up to the podium or see you coming up to talk to them and go, oh, this guy again. Oh, for God's sake, he comes and talks to me every meeting. Oh, God. And that is how you become a force to be reckoned with. This is the secret. This is it. You want to know how Barack Hussein Obama got elected to the Senate? And how he got elected president of the United States? This is how. This is what community organizing is. It takes time. You have to beat the street, bang on doors, go to meetings, and all the other piddling that nobody feels like doing. It's not fun. It's not sexy. It's hard work. And it's not for everybody. But the problem is that they are getting away with everything now because we have all just shirked our civic duties. City council meetings, school board meetings, up until this past year, record low levels of attendance. Even before Rona. Unbelievably low levels of attendance. Lucky you get 10, 20 people go to these things. Why? Because they're all aired. They're all on TV now. Oh, I'm going to live stream it. The comment section on Facebook and YouTube is so easy to shut off. It's not funny. You really think typing Baba Booey and Howard Stern's penis 38 times in the chats is going to help? No. You need to go to the meeting. Be present. Be there. Make your voice heard. Look these sons of in the eye. Look them in their eye sockets, into the windows of their fucking soul. And let them know you are watching them like a hawk. And you will bring down the wrath of 1,000 suns if they attempt to you over again. This is the problem. This is why Congress is not accountable to the people worth a good. This is why. Because they spend so much time in Washington, D.C. and so much time away from their districts that they don't feel the heat. This is why Congress needs to spend about, I want to say, probably 30% of the time up on the Hill. And the rest of the time in their constituencies, in their office, getting spoken to, yelled at, berated, high five, pat on the back, whatever, from their constituents. They need to be getting feedback from their constituents every blessed day. Not hiring some intern out of ASU to do it. No, they actually need to be doing it themselves. We need to expect this from our civil servants because they are our civil servants. And what happens when your civil servants go running off without any oversight or any management from you? You get a whole bunch of crap that you didn't ask for, you didn't vote for, and you never wanted because they are just carrying on for themselves. And the cat's away, folks, and the mice are playing. The mice are playing. This is why we are where we are right now. This is why we have a federal government run roughshod straight over the states without so much as a kiss or an offer of dinner. This is why we have fights over critical race theory in our schools, fights over mask mandates and vaccination mandates. This is why we have state after state after state that could not be to even call their legislatures back into order for an electoral emergency. Yeah, that's a thing that happened. I haven't forgotten about that, Doug Ducey. Swipe left on the president, huh? I have not forgotten any of this. When you realize that the people who work for you aren't working for you, they're working for their paycheck. Yeah, there's that. Nice thing about Arizona is our legislators are part-time and they have a miserably low pay rate and it's per diem. Downside of that, folks, is that you only get these somewhat wealthy, somewhat high-to-do 40, 50, and 60-year-olds getting into office because they can actually afford to walk away from their business for a little while and actually go up to Phoenix. It really does stop younger people from being able to get in and do their thing. But it's not supposed to be a job. You know, there's a barrier to entry, sure. But it's not supposed to be a full-time job. I mean, Texas, they have like one of the shortest runs ever, and I think they only come in every other year. That's fantastic. Because that government's not going to do a lot of harm. Meanwhile, you look to states like New York and California, their legislature is in session pretty much 24/7. Arizona, I think it's a 9-month session. And then they go to recess, and I think they're coming back in January now. But big shout out to everybody who's shown up at these meetings. Big shout out to people who are becoming precinct committeemen. I don't care what party you're in, become a precinct committeeman. Why? Because then you get to have a voice. You know how the Democrats got so crazy? Because the only people who become precinct committeemen and become actively involved are the radicals, are the extremists, typically the people without jobs. Yeah. The people who are willing to walk around and bang doors and get paid by billionaires, special interest groups, and PACs to go walk around and bang on doors and collect signatures. Yeah, how's that one grab you? You know how hard it is to get volunteers to go collect signatures? Oh my God. But if you have somebody like George Soros backing you, you can pay those people $100 a day. Oh, those signatures, they just come in like water. Like water. Folks, we have to accept something. We have to accept it right now. And this may be an unpopular take, but I'm going to give it anyway. The state of America right now, it's partially our fault. Because we let them do this to us. We let them do this to us by not showing up. There was no battle. There was no war. There's a meeting we didn't go to. A phone call we missed. An email we deleted. And that is how America will die. Because we don't show up. We don't get pissed off. Until it's too late. And then you become the bad guy. I guess I'm a little bit black pilled today. I don't know. Real quick, if you haven't done your shopping yet for the upcoming birthdays and holidays and such, make sure you get over to Romika Designs. Romika Designs, fantastic laser engraving and laser creations. Love their stuff. By the way, we actually currently have a new promotion going through Mojo 50. We are asking for you, to donate $25 to Mojo 50. And when you do, you will get this beautiful 2021 Christmas ornament from Mojo 50, created by Romika Designs for us. We can all use a little Christmas spirit right now. I know I sure as hell can, because I can't tell you how angry I was when I walked in that meeting and noticed like nobody there. Oh God, that pissed me off. And it kind of crystallized for me, you know? But I digress. You can give $25 or more, and we would be honored to send you a 2021 Christmas ornament. I'm going to be getting one myself. And we thank you for a donation. Situation is this. We need your support. We're being censored on platforms that should be free speech based. Facebook, Twitter, and Google. They're trying to silence your voice. We want to restore liberty, responsibility, and self-reliance and put it back in the hands of the individual. Please support us in restoring America. Help us by supporting our growth to make your voice heard. And you can donate right now. Like I said, anything better than $25 is going to get you that sweet Christmas ornament. So please get onto mojo50.com/donate, mojo50.com/donate, and you can do that today. And keep an eye out for our good buddies at AmericanPrideRoasters.com, AmericanPrideRoasters.com. Historically great coffee over at American Pride Roasters. Drinking a little bit right now, actually. That was a good slurp, that. Silent Cows, 3-pound box. I was thinking about Silent Cal the other day. I want the people of this country to be able to work less for the government and more for themselves. My, how that's gone away in our government today, even in the state and in the local. Everybody's looking for government to just solve their problems, not realizing that government more frequently than anything is the problem. And the reason that government is the problem is we let it get away from us. Government is like fire. It's dangerous, but it's also powerful. It can be man's greatest ally and his worst enemy. We did the one thing that you don't do. We turned our back on a fire. And now it's raging out of control. So, folks, time to get your gear on and go fight that fire. We need to put it back. Put it back within the barriers that we created for it, back within the Constitution. And the way you do that is, like I said, show up for every meeting you can. Make sure your neighbors do the same. Make sure your friends do the same. Be a presence. Be known. Be felt. Not that way. In your town, in your county, in your state. If you don't know, if you have not met every single one of your local representatives, if you have not met your town councilman, if you have not met your mayor, if you have not met your state representatives, I know the governor's a little bit harder to get to, but if you've not met your state representatives and your state senator, ask yourself why. Why have I not shook that person's hand? Why have I not looked them directly in the eye? I promise you, any answer you come up with is a bullshit excuse. Change it. Fix it. Make sure these people know your name. Make sure they know your face. Make sure they know that they will be hearing from you the very second they f*** up. That is our job. That is our civic duty as Americans. And it's something that we on the right lost track of somewhere. And it's something we need to bring back. Civic responsibility. All right, folks. In the meanwhile, take care of yourselves. Watch out for each other. Keep your heads on a swivel. Don't take any wood nickels. Prepare yourselves for what's coming. Prepare yourself to be a sanctuary, a helping hand, a bastion to your family, your friends, your neighbors, those you know and love. Be a help to others so that you don't need help from others. Most of all, pick your eyes up from the ground, because it ain't over yet. From Phoenix, Arizona, good night. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. I'm Matt Holloway from Mojo 50. End transmission.